Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Shop Small podcast. I am Jeremy. This is Laura, and we are so happy to have you watching us. You can catch us on all social media, so please share with a friend. So we've got a special episode for you guys today. So Lori, take it away.
I am going to introduce you to a fabulous woman. Her name is Carmen. Say hi, Carmen.
Hello.
So she is a caregiver. She's actually one of my caregivers. And so we're going to talk about caregiving and how she got into it, what she does, and a little bit more about her on top of it.
Wonderful. So Carmen, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, man. I don't know how to start this.
Where are you from?
I am from Phoenix.
Okay. Are you a native?
My parents are from Mexico. They're
Okay.
Mexicans, but I was born here.
Wonderful.
And are you married?
I'm married and I have 2 kids.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful. And how long have you been doing caregiving?
3 years.
3 years. And what brought you into caregiving?
Honestly, it started as a job. Somebody recommended me to work there. So I started working there, but once I got my first client, it was just as if I was taking care of my parents. Like if it was really hard, but it was just something natural for me to start doing.
Gotcha.
Great. So what would you say were some of the challenges when you first started doing it?
Probably when they start getting mad at you.
Oh, really?
And obviously, like, I love each and one of my clients as if they were my parents, if they were part of my family. But obviously, once they start screaming at you,
Yeah.
you can't do nothing. And it's not like I'm going to do something. It's just that you can't tell them, like, to stop or something, because I feel like it's out of my lead or out of my hands to do that.
Sure.
And then when the family members don't do nothing or think it's okay, it's kind of hard, because you kind of have to, it's part of your job and you have to not like just take it in as if you were working as a restaurant or something. They yell at you.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think that's the hard part, but then you understand that they have problems and you're like, okay, like it's not them. So then you just, I just take it in.
Right.
What's the most rewarding part of this job for you?
Probably falling in love with them and their family. I have so many relationships with a lot of my clients and their family. And I think that's the part that I love more because you start gaining so much more family with all of them.
So they become part of your family, like an extended part of your family.
Yes.
Wonderful. And do you do this 7 days a week? Is there a day that you take off just for your own family? Or do you do it 7 days a week?
I try to do whatever I can. I don't try doing I do any day of the week, but I want to at least have one day to where I'm with my kids. But I try not to have working every single day. I used to do that, and it was really hard because your kids start noticing that you're not there.
You kind of get burned out.
Yeah. So, yeah, true. So, I mean, at least one day, but I could work any day of the week because you got to be available for everybody. Everybody has different schedules, but I do ask them, like, I do want a day off. And they're okay with it. So,
do you do overnights?
I do overnights and days.
Wonderful.
So what would you say is the type of person that would need your services?
I have patience. I do think people need to have patience and much love towards people, because if you get mad easily, then you're not for this job. If you get frustrated or you like don't like when people scream at you or having to one thing I do say is it's hard. It's like taking care of a baby. So if you don't like having to clean them or shower them or looking at other people like nude or anything, don't do it. Because a lot of them do require a lot of changing, showering, and changing. And changing as in like their diapers. And I know a lot of people are like disgusted by that. So if you don't like any of that, don't do it. Because they could feel it. They could feel when you don't do something in a good way.
Oh, sure.
So the client that you're looking for, what would be that client? Like who would hire you? Who would be looking to hire you? Let's put it that way.
What do you mean?
So like for myself, I needed a little bit of help just with my father with just basic things. Mm-hmm. But who else would need you in that sense? Would it be just the client? Would it be their family? Where would you start as far as taking care of someone?
Probably I've had people that need me as just a family. So sometimes they need help because they're so busy around the house, and they just, their parents could be good, but they just need me around by like cleaning or just doing house stuff for them because they're busy. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with doing even the smallest things, to help somebody. So, I mean, and it could go to extreme to where I need to stay there watching them because they can't move out of their bed,
Without help or assistance of some kind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if someone wanted to hire you, what is the first step?
Oh.
I mean, do you have a website, social media? Do you have...
I don't.
Just reach out personally?
They recommend me, and then those people start calling me. So the people that recommend me pass their number.
Word of mouth.
Pretty much.
Nice.
And then they hire, like they kind of do like, we'll see one day. And then once they go that one day, they're like, okay, like you're a good fit.
Yeah,
and then they keep me for like, I think I've been with people for years. Like there's one person I have for 3 years already. Like they keep me until their parents pass away. Yeah. And that's how you keep a good relationship with everybody in the family.
And then that client will say,
once they pass away, they'll tell another person like, hey, this person took care of my parents and they did a good job. And that's just how it keeps going.
So, and that's good because word of mouth is so good, because if you are not good at what you do, word of mouth can either help you or break you.
Exactly.
And so if it is helping you, that shows exactly how good of a caregiver you are.
Yes, exactly. And one thing is a lot of people are good with taking care of the elderly, but they don't want nothing to do with the family, But once that person passes away, obviously they can't give you the recommendation, it's the family. So you also have to have that relationship with everybody in that home to get that recommendation that you want,
So what about infants or special needs? Do you help anybody, or is it mainly elderly?
Right now, it's only elderlies. I don't do infants and stuff, but I mean, I used to when I was probably like 16.
Sure.
Took care of kids. It was like I went to a daycare, but it was in Mexico. So obviously it didn't care the age you had. I took care of infants, but right now it's just been mainly elderlies.
Would you open for that doing any age?
Yeah.
Or even special needs, like he was saying? Would you be open to that if somebody said, hey, I have a child or even an adult who has special needs? Would you be willing to come in and help with whatever that is?
Of course. I love helping others, and if I'm able to help them in whatever they need, I would love to.
So what area would you go to or say, no, that's too far?
Probably all the way till Tempe, and then probably to Surprise. But further than that, I feel like it is too far.
Okay, what about east? Would you go all the way to Scottsdale, or is that
I mean, I have went all the way to Fountain Hills.
Oh, yes.
okay?
So
That's pretty good
I
distance
will.
out
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So I have went far, so I would do it if it's for like a lot of hours. Like I wouldn't do it for just a couple hours.
Sure.
Right. Make it worth the trip.
Of course.
Basically. Yeah. No, that's understandable. And what about northwise? Do you go all the way to Anthem?
I mean, I work in Cave Creek right now, and it's like not even that far from Anthem. So, I mean, I would. It's not far, so I would do that.
So Tempe to Anthem, Surprise to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good wide area for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So
So you don't have to say exactly, but what is the price range for your service? If someone was watching this and they're interested, what are we looking at here?
like in between.
Yeah, a range. You don't have to say.
Well, I always said depending on how difficult the
of
job
course.
is, obviously, because right now my lowest is 20. But depending, there's people where they need like way much more hands-on and much more care. And I would only go till 25. I don't think I would charge any more than that.
That's very reasonable.
That is very,
Yeah.
very reasonable. With the prices out there today for home care is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just to where people almost can't afford to get help. And these elderly people, they've worked their little tail ends off to have that. And it's unfortunate. And that's, one of the things that I really loved about you, that you weren't like with us too. We're not always in it for the money. We're there to help people, and when you're in that category where you're doing something because you want to help that person, that income comes back to you in full.
Oh, yes.
So $20 to $25 an hour for caregiving in home is so reasonable. It's unreal. So
I've worked with so many people who are barely even meeting their ends. And for me to see that, I'm not saying I'll always do it, but I do it for this one person who I've had for 3 years. She has been having a hard time. I mean, she pays a lot for me, but it's not because of me. It's the business that I'm in. I'm not going to say the name, so I can't say it. But they charge more, but they only pay me like a little portion of what they charge her. And she's having a hard time paying that, and she only has me 2 times a week. But there's times where she doesn't want to pay that much money because it's double pay. And I tell her it's okay. Every single time there's like a double pay or something, just cancel with them, and I'll just go in really quick for you, like to grab you, because all she needs is food. Why am I going to make her pay double?
right.
When I could just go in really fast.
And that's what a lot of people out there, and even myself, when I first started looking for home care, they don't understand is these companies that they're hiring the company. The company is they're charging between $36 to $46 to up to $50 an hour, and you pay, let's say $40 an hour. The people that they're hiring to come in, they're only getting paid $18 an hour.
Or less.
There's some of them that I've had that told me they were making 15.
Yeah, that was me.
And yeah. And so when I'm paying $40 and the caregiver who is doing the work is only getting paid the 15. Now I get it because I own a company. You can only, you charge a client this amount, and who you have as a worker, you give this amount. I get that, but there is a huge gap in that. There is a huge gap in that. And for the person who's actually taking care of these people who are sick or are elderly and needing the help, they're the ones who should be getting the pay.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't know that. And I learned that as I went along. So if you're out there and you're looking for home care, please look at people who are doing it themselves. And of course, do background check. But look at who's doing it by themselves, not necessarily with a huge company. That's why we say shop small. And give them that opportunity. But definitely do your due diligence and check them out and make sure that they're good, because that's what the company does for you. So that's another reason you do pay the extra, because they do background checks.
Yeah.
You're looked at.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other things is also try them out. I mean, always try them out before you tell them a set schedule or tell them you're going to keep them, because
absolutely.
some of them will give a false personality in the beginning and then start like behind your back. I've seen it a lot, or a lot of people tell me this is what happened and stuff. And I'm just telling you from experience, a lot of them telling me that they thought they were good people until they kept them. And then they're like, well, they weren't a good fit. Yeah. And then they get mad because you fire them, and it's hard to fire them because you have to give them an explanation. And nowadays, a lot of people are getting so offended, or they want like something to let them know, why are you firing me, you know?
Yeah. And well, the great thing about Arizona is it's a right to work state. I can let you go at any time for any reason. It don't matter. So, that's the good thing about Arizona.
Yeah. But not a lot of people are it's hard for them to do it. You know, I've heard a lot of them say, it's because I can't just tell them to go, you know, like the minute they're like, why, they like get all scared or something. So people do take advantage of a lot of elderly people.
And yeah, that's why you got to do your due diligence. Really check them out before you hire them.
Yes.
You know, I had probably a good dozen of different people coming through, you know, before I found you and said, okay, this is the right fit. So yes, have them come in, even if it's for a month at a time, you know, because like you said, they're gonna show one side until they feel comfortable, and then they'll show their second side. So even if that is that month, give it, you know, a little bit of time before you say, yes, I'm going to hire you full time. Another thing you might want to look at is contracts.
Yes.
Look at having a contract with that person, even though that they're not a total business. You can still have a contract that states that we can let you go at any given point in time.
Yeah.
I don't have one with you, but I had built, so do as I say, not as I do. But I had built a friendship with you prior to, you know, really saying, okay, this is going to be a full-time gig.
Yeah.
But I did have a contract with a prior one, because it was getting to the point where I said, okay, we need to have a say-so on how this is going to go from step A to step B. So you may even look at contracts. Look at contracts.
Yes.
And if you have to have a lawyer drill that up, but here in the state of Arizona, it's great. You can just say, there's the door, have a good day. But that being said, how do you feel when somebody says, hey, this is just not a good fit? You don't take it personally. I mean,
no, you should never take it personal, because maybe it's sometimes you don't know what, I mean, you probably don't know what you're doing in that situation. You know, I haven't had that. I can't really say how I would feel, but obviously I know that I wouldn't take it personal. I'll be like, okay, that's fine. It's okay. I mean,
because it's how you are, how comfortable you are. Because think of it this way: if you are an elderly person and you're having to be showered by somebody, you want to feel comfortable with that person. Mm-hmm. So if you're not, you should be okay with saying, hey, I'm not comfortable for whatever reason. I'm going to let you go. Mm-hmm. So as a caregiver, you would say, if that person is offended or upset, they're not the right fit for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, a lot of older people are mean. So then they might just not like you for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want someone young. I want someone old. I want a man and not a woman showering me or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't take it personally. It's just how the patient feels.
Right.
Exactly. And it's always the family. Obviously, if the family feels comfortable with you, because I had a patient, he passed away, sadly, but he only wanted women.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want a man because he wanted to feel like the man in the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he wanted only woman. And his wife right now, she is needing help, and they were trying to get men because it was more heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But he didn't want men. He wanted women to take care of it, take care of her. But he was pretty mean sometimes, but he was the most nicest person you could ever meet. But he had his moments because he had dementia, and he had his moments where he'll yell at you, or he'll get mad because he thought you stole something.
And you got to remember, that's just part of that dementia.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if the family trusts you, they're going to know, okay, it's not you, it's him.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have fired other people, but it's because they weren't taking care of him, or because they were to get mad because he said something,
Right.
But we always tried. We would always be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Or it's just having to understand them. And if the family sees that, they're going to want you there, even though they don't want to, because they know what's good for their parents, because their parents is not all there.
Right.
So they don't know what they want. And you just got to be you with them.
Right. Right. You got to be open, honest, and show as I say, your true colors.
Yeah.
Because like you said, sometimes they're mean,
racist, because they're, from a different generation.
From a different generation,
Yes.
exactly. So, and how they were raised. And if it was me, I wouldn't want a man giving me a shower.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's not saying I don't like men. It's just I wouldn't feel comfortable with a man giving me a shower. And so they each have their own little way. And I actually worked with the elderly before I started this and my shirt business. And yeah, they can scream at you one minute and be your best friend the next, but that's just part of that dementia.
Yes.
And so you have to remember that as a caregiver, is that 5 minutes from now, they're probably really not going to remember yelling at you.
Or you can have a beautiful day with them, and then the next day you work, they're like, who are you?
Yes.
Or be very mean, or like kick you out of their house, and you're just like, it's not them. And
right. It's the disease.
Mm-hmm.
It's not who they are. It's the disease that took over them.
Yeah.
And with you seem to understand that a lot more.
Oh, yeah. At first, it was like I would cry when I would get home and be like, he yelled at me. But then you start understanding, and you start seeing them, and you start getting along with them. And I feel like that's when I started learning so much about dementia and so many other stuff that I've had with different people. And that's how I started learning. Like, I probably might not know one thing right now, but if I get somebody with that something, I'll start learning everything, and then for the next person, I'll know what to do.
So that's a good thing to do, is that if you walk in and you have a patient that you've never had with Parkinson's, you would say research that so you know how to take care of that person if you're going to be that caregiver.
Yes.
That's smart, because a lot of people don't do that. They just walk in and do their job, as they call it, a job, and walk out.
I don't see it as a job, I love going to them, and I hate saying clients, I say my people, my persons, because I don't see them as a client. I don't see it as a job. I love going to their houses and feeling like I'm at home. I'm going to take care of a family person,
And I think they do much better in a whole if they can stay in their home rather than go to a facility. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. I've went to facilities and people are so mean. They're very mean. So if you're able to keep them at their house, it would be much better.
Yeah. And usually you can do that. The facilities cost so much more than having an in-home nurse. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
You know, and you can do everything. You can cook, clean, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly.
You know, where a lot of people don't understand that they can get that at a home, you know, being at home.
It depends the person. I'm a whole different person, okay? I will
You're your own
clean.
person.
I will go do your garden if you need me to do. I will do whatever. There's people who just focus on that person. So on the elderly person, there's people who do take it as just a job and they will just go in and will not want to clean your house because it's not something to do with that person. So that's why I'm saying you have to always make sure, because there's people out here charging like $30 to $40, but they only focus on the elderly person, which is good. But I mean, sometimes the elderly person needs to live in a clean environment,
right?
Like, you know,
and they don't have their family here to clean or whatever the case may be. So if they can get it with one person rather than having to hire a cleaning person and then this person and then this person, it's better that if they can find somebody like you who will be able to do it all.
Yes.
And I have ran into that with, you know, the dozen or so that I've gone through. So you and I had two other ones that would go above and beyond, is what I call it, for their clients.
Yes.
You know, for their person. And that is something that you need to look for, because you think putting them in these homes, and I've worked for them too, that it is a great fit. And it's like you said, some of them are really mean.
They are.
You know, some of them are really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing on the homes, because I had one that was really, really, really good. But it's just easier for the person, the client, if they can stay in their own home.
Yeah,
they do better. They, you know, they can see their own stuff and comprehend where they're at a little bit better, is what I've seen. What do you think?
I think so too, because one thing I learned with this person I took care of is that he didn't remember who we are every single time we went, but he felt safe because we were in his house. They feel more safer. And then if they do end up forgetting something, you could always be like, well, do you remember this picture? Do you remember this? Like, and it's more
personal.
Yeah. They will remember, and they will remember, and they'll be like, okay, they'll feel better. In a home, they'll see more other people, and they'll see like this little small room, and they're going to be like, feel so trapped, you know, like they don't have so much to do. Like there's other people, like, why is there other people, you know, and they don't see their families, or, well, families go there, but if they're at their house, they see like their wives or their dogs. Or their like kids, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes them remember like, okay, like I'm okay here. And I see that it helps them much, much better.
So I know one of the things that I've heard is that they're worried about their safety if they keep them in their home rather than, say, taking them to a facility, because the facility, of course, is locked in. They give them sometimes wristbands, or you have a code that you have to get through to get into that facility, and they can't get out. Mm-hmm. But you can do that inside your home also. You can make it so that they are safe and that they can't just get out the street and run down the road.
Exactly.
But that can be done.
This person her daughter has cameras around her house. And I know some people don't like that because they're being watched. But I think it's just safety for them, you know, and then also for the parents. I mean, if the parents are living alone in their house, their kids could just like go on and watch the camera, like make sure they're okay. You know, I know there's other like family members who are more like they're watching you the whole time. And I know it feels weird, but understand, like if that was your parent, wouldn't you want to make sure that the person is taking care of them, or doing their job or taking care of your parents okay.
Right, exactly. As long as it's not in an area that, like a bathroom, but if there's cameras all over this house and you're in here and you're taking care of my father, you're not going to feel like I'm watching you all the time, especially if I have to go out of town for whatever reason. I can pop in and make sure you're doing your job, like you said, and make sure that he's safe. And if something were to happen when, let's say, for some reason you're not here, you had to go to the store, you had to do whatever, and I was out of town that time, and he fell, I could see that. It would alarm me.
Yeah.
And so, there are safeties that can be done inside a home just as it could be in a facility.
At a home, yeah. A lot of people think it's a home better because there's more people. There's a lot more people who could watch them. But let's be serious. I've seen them and they're just over there in a corner talking and stuff while the other one's like coming out of the room. This person they hired me to go into a home and take care of their dad. So it'd be like an extra watching him pretty much.
Right.
And it's like, why would they do that if they feel safe for him to be in there, Right. So, and why don't you just have them at home and have somebody be there like 24/7? It'll probably be more cheaper than paying.
Oh yeah, it is a lot less. Because the homes are, oh my God, they're stupid expensive anymore. But it is expensive to have somebody 24/7. But it is a lot more expensive to have them in a facility in a hole. And they think, well, they get fed in there. Mm-hmm. Well, they're also going to get fed in their home. And the food is 9 out of 10. It's going to be comparable to what you're getting at a facility, depending on the facility.
Yeah.
Some of the facilities, others have really, really good food.
Yeah.
Stuff that I wouldn't mind eating. I worked in the food portion of it at one of the facilities, and they had really good food.
Yeah.
But you can also have that at the home.
Yeah. I know there is facilities that do take care of them very good.
Yeah.
But I've heard that it's the ones that are very expensive.
Yeah. they got the tag to go with it. And not everybody has that kind of money. Unfortunately, when we retire, especially my generation that's getting ready to retire, our Gen X generation, I think my generation is going to have a harder time when it comes to that because the prices are so
high.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the boomers, they were smart when they put their money away. They really were, right? Your mom's a boomer, mine. Us Gen Xers, we're not so much. No, I mean we were, but not as. But we also they stopped having 401ks. They stopped having a bunch of different stuff about 10 years ago. So all of that isn't available to everybody anymore.
Yeah,
that they had money put away for. Not to say you can't, because anybody can, but I just think the generations it's different. On the money amount that they have, and the prices just keep going up, keep going up.
Crazy.
It's insane. So I'm glad you're at the 20 to 25 because that gives them a way to have somebody come in that will take care of their parent and will do it. I wouldn't have you on here if I wouldn't recommend you. I think you're wonderful. You do a great job for my father. I have you come in here when I'm not here, and I trust you to do so. And so that is what people should be looking for.
Yes.
Somebody that if you went out of town for a weekend and you could leave them there or have them come in and out and trust them I have a dog and to take care of their dog. You fed my dog. You've done things for them. So something to that nature is what they definitely should be looking for.
Oh yes, definitely.
And I highly, highly recommend you. So if you want to get a hold of her, definitely get a hold of us through the podcast. Send me a message. You can send a message to me directly through printedapparelaz@gmail, through any of our podcasts pages. Thank you. I had a brain fart.
Yes. So before we let you go, I want to know, what's the strangest request you've had from someone that's hired you? Like someone asked you to mow their yard or paint their fence?
Oh no, I probably one person just asked me to pretty much just clean their house.
Yeah.
Instead of taking care of their dad, which is okay. But
Yeah.
it was kind of like, okay,
Sure.
that's
Sure.
fine.
You're cleaning. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not. You're all of a sudden you became a maid more than you were.
Exactly. I was a
Gotcha.
cleaning lady.
Well, at least it keeps you busy.
Yeah. It brings in the money. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming. It's a rainy
Yes,
day.
thank
You look
Yeah.
great.
It was
So we
beautiful
appreciate you
Yes.
coming out and talking to us today. And I think that's about it. We'll let you get out of here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
thank
everything
you.
you've done for us. So
Well, I
thank you.
appreciate for having me here.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Share with a friend or another small business owner, anybody you think that would like our show. So thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Have a great one.
Yeah, we did it.
Yay! Good job.